Welcome back, guys. Jake here, Dude Ranch DIY. It is a gorgeous day here in southern Connecticut. I actually took a half day of work to get a couple things done since it is so nice. We're supposed to get some rain later on this week, so I just wanted to button some things up around here. I found myself a couple hours in between work, and I actually have another little job to do later this afternoon. So I'm going to fire up the RuggedMade RS-737 log splitter. I'm going to fire up the Conveyor, which I, since the last video where we were having some technical or mechanical difficulties rather with the motor, I pulled the carb out, cleaned it all out, got new fuel line, got new spark plug, got new air filter, I got a new fuel bowl gasket on there. The carb was filthy, new gas in it with some Lucas Oil products, fuel additive. And it's running great. I tightened up the conveyor belt, so it's hopefully not gonna, wobble around quite as much. And I actually did a couple tack welds on these sidebars here that were loose and kind of falling off. So without further ado, stick with me and we'll push some rounds through the splitter. Now, the other day when Sam and I were splitting the ash to fill the IBC totes to help fill up our wood room, we made really good progress. And as you can see, this kind of little back pile here of the larger ash rounds is all that's left. I since took down another smaller ash tree, as well as a small red oak and a small maple, and cut up the rounds over the weekend and dumped them right here from the Sure-Trac dump trailer. So that's what's in front. I'm only going to be splitting the ash today because that stuff is, it was standing dead, pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to pick that out, and sort out the ash, or the maple and oak rather, and continue to fill up these IBC totes just so that we can get our wood room squared away. So in the last video, we kind of guesstimated how big the wood room was as far as the dimensions and how much it would hold. Since then, I took a tape measure to it and measured it. And it's about 25 feet long, and we stacked the wood about 6 feet high, and there's 2 rows on each side of, the 2 doors on either end. So that, the measurements there is 6 feet high by 36 inches wide, 3 feet, and then 25 feet long. And then there's 2 of those, so you double that. And judging by my calculations, it holds about 7 cords of wood in that one room, which is great because I don't think we will need to burn that much this winter. However, if we do, it's there and it's ready to go, which is good news. So I just wanted to give you a quick little update on that. And now we're going to get to splitting. Okay, so we just split a bunch of this ash and stuff, and as you can see, I do need, I think, to fill in this little area here because pieces definitely fall through and go to the ground. And the conveyor belt obviously is not the best way to load the IBC totes. As some of you have pointed out, it's kind of an unnecessary step. I could just be pushing the pieces directly in. The only reason why I'm using the conveyor belt right now is because I just, as I mentioned, went through the carburetor and the motor and got it, running again. And I noticed a lot of dirt deposits and like soot kind of on the cylinder heads. So I just wanted to run it and make sure that it was running good and hopefully heat it up to be able to burn off some of those deposits. So I just loaded up this IBC tote. I'm going to pick up these couple pieces that fell on the ground and move it on over to the wood room. Just had to move the forks a little bit closer because I had them really wide. I made a little log delivery before to a client that wanted some cedar, and there happened to be a lumber truck unloading a bunch of lumber for a deck, I guess. And what the lumber was packaged on and shipped on was actually quite interesting. So I talked to the driver, and I was able to get the two shipping pallet things, I guess you'd call them, off the truck right then and there. So let me grab the camera and I'll show you what I mean. So these two beauties were on a big flatbed, truck with a Moffett kind of, forklift that goes on the back, and all the decking materials were shipped to him. And he said they just throw them out back at the yard, and I asked him if I could have them, and he said sure. And there's quite a few. It's like a small family-owned chain around the southern Connecticut area. They have a couple stores in neighboring towns. And he said they all get them about at least once a week. So I could always go over there and get more. Now, as you guys know, I'm trying to phase out, stacking wood as much as possible. However, for bulk firewood, I think, I'm still going to have to do that. I'll obviously fill up as many of these IBC totes as possible, but I only get them, every so often when the company that, my supplying company has them empty. But these are going to be great to add on to this big pallet, pad here that I stacked full last year. So the plan is to just keep expanding it back this way and, stack and season more wood. Now that I used the conveyor for a bit, everything seems to be running good. It didn't conk out or die. It didn't even, hesitate. It started up first pull. I think, like you guys said, and Sarah even mentioned, it's not really necessary for the IBC totes. In fact, I think I get more in there, chucking it in there by hand. So I'm going to get this thing out of the way, and another IBC tote moved up to the end of the splitter. Pretty light, as I mentioned before. I can pretty much move it around the yard by myself. right, that should do for now. Gonna get another IBC tote. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for this one. I ran out of time. As you can see, I took the pallet forks off the tractor. I got to hook up the grapple and get it loaded up in the Sure-Trac dump trailer. I got a little job I got to do for one of my parents' neighbors, you know, chipping up some brush. But we pretty much got all of that load that I brought home this weekend, split all that smaller diameter, excuse me, ash, maple, and oak. I made a separate pile of the oak here because the oak was alive and, you know, by no means is it dry. Split it a little bit smaller, so hopefully it'll help dry it out a little bit quicker. But this is going to get stacked up in an IBC tote and, you know, just ready to be seasoned for, you know, next year, 2 years from now, whenever it's dry. We got about, I don't know, maybe another half IBC tote filled up with that ash, and we have some more big ash rounds back there to fill up the rest of this one for next time. But that's about it. Oh, the one other thing. Some of you guys mentioned how fast the hydraulic wedge was going up and down. I don't know if you could notice in any of these shots. I put in a flow restrictor valve on the end of the valve, and I adjusted it so now it goes, at least in the up direction, it's a lot more controlled. It's not as jerky. You know, when I'm going down, I'm usually bringing it all the way back down, so it doesn't really matter that it's fast in that direction. But it's much slower, easier to control going up. now, so that was very helpful. And yeah, that's about it. So as always, if you guys like this stuff, please hit that subscribe button. It'd be great, big help. If you could give us a big thumbs up, I'd appreciate that as well. And be sure to share with your friends. And we'll see you here next time at Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks for watching.